Hello everyone and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm your host, Anthony Pastori. Each June, we have the opportunity to celebrate the achievements of LGBTQ plus people from all around the world. The hope there is to always open up conversations about the community, their unique challenges, and of course the importance of diversity and inclusion. I am so happy to be joined today by my friend and colleague from Goldman Sachs Asset Management, Kevin Healy. Kevin, great to see you, sir. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy to have you here in the studio.
It's a delight to be here. It's Pride. We have new music from Beyonce. Dreams do come true. How about that?
It was like a gift to the LGBTQ plus community, I think, that she did when she released the song. Yeah. Well, good to have you back, Kevin.
Thank you.
I think the last time we actually had you on the show was last June. So, you know, we had a lot to talk about at the time. Of course, there's always something going on within, you know, the month of June is for Pride celebrations. But how are you celebrating Pride this year? What's the plan?
I'm having a ball. The first thing we did is my partner and I took my triplet nieces who had just graduated from high school to Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
So we just got back, hence the tan.
That's a nice trip for a couple of recent grads.
They loved it.
Amazing.
They loved it. We had a ball.
That's great.
So that was a good week. And the rest of the month, I've had the pleasure of delivering the Goldman Sachs Empower the LGBTQ plus Investor presentation. So I'm having a great month.
That's great. Yeah, it's really fun to kind of reach out to folks and find out what they're doing to celebrate. But one of the things that I know that you and I have talked about in the past, and I think it bears repeating, is outside of the celebratory things that are happening in June, you know, there's, you know, 11 other months out of the year, and we know that there are some unique challenges for folks in the LGBTQ plus community on a lot of levels, but specifically when it comes to finance and financial planning. Maybe you could touch on some of those.
Yeah, I'd love to. You know, at Goldman, we've identified a clear need in the community. There's this paradox, right? The great majority of our community is worried about their financial future, but only 22% of the community works with a financial advisor. And we think that is a challenge and frankly a threat, because there are unique challenges that the community faces when it comes to investing. I think about things like marriage, children, and aging. When you think about marriage, you know, marriage equality, a lot of people, certainly in the straight community, thought when we got marriage equality, you're good, right? And it was a wonderful day. I mean, who doesn't remember where they were when that text came through? But it's not Xanadu yet, right? We don't have equal rights across the nation. Half of us live in those 29 states where you can still be denied credit and services and perhaps healthcare in a pandemic, right? So we're not there yet. And when it comes to financial services, only 22% of us are working with a financial advisor, which is dramatically less than the broader community. So those challenges I mentioned, marriage, only 10% of us couples are married in the community. There could be a number of reasons why. You know, my partner and I have been together for 13 years. We only moved in together after 10. I thought it might have been too soon. I wasn't sure. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Thank God we did, right? A lot of people don't want to take that tax hit. But if you're a couple that are not getting married, you want to make sure that you're partnered with a financial advisor who can ensure that you're protected.
That's right.
When it comes to your finances, when it comes to your health care, you want to make sure that you have a plan.
Yeah.
I mentioned children. Listen, I don't want to shock anyone, but there aren't a lot of surprise babies in our community, right? What does it take?
What makes you say that?
A hunch. You know, it takes planning and it takes money.
Right.
It could be $40,000 to $50,000 to expand our families. And what's great is 63% of millennials in our community do want to expand their families. But are they saving towards that? Our studies show that only 40% of our community have saved an emergency fund. Only 44% of us have saved for a vacation. Do those people know how much a share in Fire Island costs? I mean, we have to do better. We can do better.
Yes.
And at Goldman, we believe one way we can do better is making sure that people are sitting down with a financial advisor talk about some of these challenges.
Yeah, we certainly espouse that here at UBS as well for everyone. Certainly, it's always great to have the professional advice of an advisor who starts to understand you and your personal situation and your family and your needs, but especially for somebody in the LGBTQ plus community. As you mentioned, Kevin, a lot of folks want to have that family. And adoption proceedings can cost a lot of money. If you go the in vitro route, it costs six figures, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and a lot of times it doesn't happen on the first try, so you may have to save for a second or third if you really want to go that route. So very unique in that sense. Thank you for sharing that, Kevin. I think it's really important that people out there, whether they're in the LGBTQ plus community or not, have that sort of knowledge base and that understanding. That helps with the whole diversity and inclusion aspect that we're always trying to achieve here. We spoke last June, of course, as I mentioned at the beginning during Pride, and certainly we can say the last year into 2 years, there has been so much talked about when it came to opening people's minds to the ideas of diversity, inclusion, social injustice, those marginalized groups that the LGBTQ plus community is a part of. So between last June when we sat down together and today, what's changed?
I think of it through the lens of the headlines, right? We all have a voice when it comes to votes. We've got to put those votes into action, right? We all see the headlines. Then when I think about it through the lens of the markets, it was a very different landscape last year from it is now. Now we're officially in a bear market.
Right.
And when you think about that volatility and bringing it back to our community, only 30% of us have focused on making sure that we have a properly diversified asset allocation plan, much less than the broader community. And when you think about the volatility this year, you want to make sure that you have done all you can do to build in some of those shock absorbers into your portfolio.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you mentioned some of these statistics, and it is great to have these conversations to exemplify to men and women out there who identify as LGBTQ, et cetera, that it is really important to work with that financial advisor, because either they're nervous that they'll be judged when they walk in the room, when they share their real personal story, or whatever the case may be for them to not feel like they can be a part of that process or that part of other people who don't identify within the community as part of their lives.
Yeah.
So it's like, get out there, people, and make sure you're saving for yourselves, your families, and if you do have those kids, make sure you're saving for your kids. And we also talk about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. I know that Goldman Sachs and UBS, we've partnered a lot on various events, which is really fantastic. We absolutely believe in the power of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. What kind of trends are you seeing there, Kevin? Because I know that there has been a lot more conversation around that in the last year, 2 years.
Sure, yeah. Let me share with you what we're doing on a micro daily basis, which everyone tuning in can do as well, and then pull back a little bit to show how we're trying to affect change within the firm and across America. So on a daily basis, everyone at Goldman, if they'd like, can have a Goldman rainbow banner on their workstation. It can say either Pride member or ally. On the backside, it has tips on inclusive behavior in the office, right? It's an easy way to make sure that you show that everybody is welcome, right? It's heartbreaking. 46% of the community is still fully closeted in the office, right? And that means they're taking all that energy, and instead of serving the clients, they're trying to figure out how they can remain in the closet. That's exhausting, it's heartbreaking, and it probably doesn't help their career, right?
Not at all.
So that's one thing we're doing to make sure everyone feels welcome. And then when you pull it back, what are we doing to try and bring more diverse people into Wall Street as a career? Every year we have an initiative where we invite college students who identify as part of the community, freshmen and sophomores typically, because we're trying to set them up for our summer internship program, which is the on-ramp to Goldman Sachs. So in normal times, we'll bring them into the city for 2 days to introduce them to what it's like to work on Wall Street and how welcoming it is, because diversity is just good business, always in every aspect. So we're trying to bring more people in. And then pulling further back, we're very focused on affecting change across the nation. So what does that look like? We're number one in investment banking. We won't take a company public if they don't have a diverse board. We are the 4th largest active asset manager in the world. We're the 4th largest alternatives manager in the world. And what we're doing is we're working with the companies that we're investing in on our clients' behalf to say, listen, we think it's important for you to have diversity on your board. And what does that mean? It can mean gender, it can mean race, it can mean sexual identification. So we're really trying to use the scale that Goldman Sachs brings to affect change on a daily basis within our firm, within the business, bringing more people in, and at the top tiers of the boards across America.
Yeah. It's amazing that there's such a commitment from your side in that. I love, that's why we always love connecting with you at Goldman and partnering with you on different things, because it's very important to UBS as well. We have our Pride Leadership Committee, we have all these initiatives, and we certainly have a lot of groups that focus on diversity from every angle, whether it's men and women of color, women, obviously LGBTQ+, people who with, we have our Ability Network that was just launched for people who have, unique situations physically, mentally, that they, want to feel comfortable about in the workplace. And we know that at the end of the day, right, Kevin, diversity of physicalness of a person also includes diversity of thought and idea sharing. And if it's just a homogenous group, there's going to be no new ideas coming to the table. Have that diversity of thought. It's so important, and no more important than on a board. As you said, you won't even look at a company that doesn't have a certain percentage of diversity on the board.
100%.
Incredible stuff. So before we wrap up, I know that you have been long talking about the Empower series, specifically the one for the LGBTQ+ community. Share with a little bit about that Goldman Empower series, Kevin.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is work with our financial advisor partners to make sure that they are equipped to understand the unique challenges the community faces, whether or not they're part of the community. And so we work with financial advisors to show them the opportunity of serving the community and how to get in front of the community and be relevant and show that they are open for business and ready to help the LGBTQ+ investor work towards achieving their financial goals.
Terrific. Kevin, always a pleasure. I love getting to chat with you. We certainly don't do it enough, but we'd love to have you back more often. Good to see you.
It's wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Kevin Healy from Goldman Sachs Asset Management. And for more information on anything we talked about today, plus all of the great content coming out of UBS and our partners like Goldman Sachs Asset Management, you can visit our website at ubs.com/views. Plus, there's lots of content up on our social media sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Plus, all of our past UBS trending episodes are available right now on demand on our website and on the UBS YouTube channel. And if you do have any questions about your portfolio, or if you're someone out there who's watching this and hasn't talked to a financial advisor, and especially if you're in the LGBTQ+ community, connect with that FA at UBS. They would love to have a conversation with you about how to get you to the place you want to be for your life, for your finances, for your family, your legacy, and everything that goes along with feeling that financial security. So make sure to do that, everybody. And until next time, happy Pride. I'm Anthony Pastore. Have a great day, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. We'll see you soon.